trade road and the political pressure. The strongest part of the previous story was the way Ernest refused to accept that the battlefield choosing for him. His enemies would wanted him trapped because that the two enemies. The moment he discovered that the movement of the 8,000 man forces, the palace began to the escape. This is important because the next stage can show a different kind of the Orhan. Earlier he often had to brave his the bravery better in the discovery. Now he's becoming a ruler who must think about what happened before a battle begins. A ruler which can identify, destroy a enemy plan without fighting. Our soldier is more dangerous than a commander who only know to change forward. The official final setup places Cruci Harbin at the enemy ship at the center of his center plan by also presented Shansha and the majors has the connected thread. My prediction is that the Orhan will not send his entire army toward that the harbor. This will make his attention too easy to understand. Instead, he will create that the appearance that his man forces is preparing for a difficult front. While a smaller group of the trusted men quickly moved toward Krisi, his true target will not only to be sheep themselves, he will want to destroy that the enemy ability to organize that the interior comparison. I accept that the opening movement of the next story to begin with the silence rather than the hang battles. I will understand that someone has been giving information to the enemy because Shansha and the readers have been able to coordinate their movement too well. Instead of immediately trying to find out traitor, Orhan may use that the possible save for his own advantage. He can allow false information to spread through that the places and the military camp. One group may hear that the Ottoman army will defect Versa, another may hear that the Orhan is personally riding against Shansha. A third mirrors may suggest that the Krisi is not important to him when the enemy react to one of these pieces of the information. Orhan can learn their plot. This secret information follow. This will allow that the series to create tension without repeating an old story exactly that the same way. The difference between will be the has already accepted betrayal. He will no longer be the enemy surprised by a secret enemy. He will between that the ruler who give that the secret enemy exactly who give that the information he want them to carry. This chain will show how much he has done from every loss, every trap, and every betrayal that came before. The attack on the ship could that become one of the most visible, powerful part of the coming story. However, I do not think it will be simple as the Orhan arriving at the armor and setting every shape on the fire. The enemy will be prepared for that the possibility. Guards may sounded that the armor, patrols may watch at the road, and soldiers may gain hidden into warehouses near that the water. And has therefore need a plan with several part. A small Ottoman unit will enter that the region discussed as traitor has worker, while another rock block the road that way, bringing help from enemy's positions. Occur also uses who understand that the cost of approaching for the direction to Byzantine commander do not expect. Oils, dry wood, ropes, and the storage supplies will become more important than the direct sword fire. The goal will be a civil fire at the same time, so that the enemy cannot say about the ships and the military surprise. Even if some ship escape, destroy food, weapons, horses, and the transfer equipment could make that the 8,000 man army far less dangerous. The victory therefore come of the breakfast that the enemy movement instead of trying to kill every soldier. This operation could also reveal an important weakness inside that the alliance against Ahimsa and the mirrors may share that the same enemy, but they do not necessarily share that the same dreams. Ahimsa want power of himself, the mirrors want to stop that the Ottoman advice. Each side will expect that the other to carry that the greatest cost of the war. If the Krisi plan fail, they may immediately begin blaming one another. The medias may believe that the Shansha gave Orhan's information. Shansha may think that the Byzantine officers were careless. This is where Orhan can gain a victory greater than the burning civil ship. He can cause distract between his enemies. When an alliance begins to question itself, every new problem becomes larger. A late message look like betrayals, a missing soldier look like a CP, a commander changing positions look like a secret deals. Orhan understand that he does not need to completely destroy about enemies at the same time. He only need to make them stop trusting each other. Then he can deal with when separated. He will be more mature strategy and will fit that the direction of a ruler who is now responsible for the survival and expectations of a state. Since, however, is unlikely to appear easily. His ambition has driven too much of the conflict from his ending to be small. My prediction is that he will become more dangerous when he releases. He is exhausting a powerful man who still believes he can easily protect his soldier and the resources. But a disappear may bring sacrifice everything around him. Sansa may order attack on the villagers, supply or similar Ottoman group or people close to Orhan. He could believe that he cannot defect Orhan in a claim military confrontation. He can make ruling informations. This will give that the next story a different kind of the pressure. Arhans may win at the tail of the new story, but still hear that the innocent people has been attracted everywhere. He will then have to decide his attention between the quest and the protection. Sansa may hope this force Arhan to become emotional and make a mistake, yet I think the opposite will happen. Arhan's anger will be strong, but since of running blindly toward him, he will close every escape road. This risk can turn Sansa one careful into the reason his allies began avoiding him. One possible development is that some of Sansa varies or the local spotter will secretly approach Arhan. They will suddenly because loyal Ottoman soldier. But they could decide that the Sansa has gone too far. The kind of the political changing will be important because they do not grow only when armies win battles. They also grow when the people decide that one ruler offers more security and justice one another's. And could promise safe to this who stand while making it clear that the leader responsible for the betrayal will answer for their actions. Their combinations of the mercy and the firmness could slowly empty Sansa camp without requiring one the great battle. This series could show familiar living at night, Varys refusing order and the terrible leader choosing neutrality. Sansa who look around and discover that his real defect is not the name of the man he lost in the combat. The true defect will be that fewer people believe in him. This will make his eventual fail feel earned later than the sudden. It will also show that the difference between someone who wants authority for himself and someone who is learning how to create a relative political order. At the same time, the mirror should not perceive if that the naval operation is the damaged contest. Nupul will understand that the Orhan's intelligent network has become stronger. The mirrors will now that the larger enemy movement can no longer be hidden easily. Because of that the Byzantine strategy may change from one large attack to the several smaller pressure instead of sending another enormous army immediately. Byzantine member could try it to straighten an important castle, Black Road, influencing locals, governors, and the care problem around Iznik and the Izmir. This will connect it naturally with Arhan's season interested in this location before the final. Arhans was already looking toward Iznik and the Izmir and the struggle and the concerted pull, showing that this is area will become central of his future plan. I therefore accept that the next major comparison to growth is unfinished goal. Arhans may release that as long as the Byzantine scale remain connected to the one another. Constantinople can continue sending men, supply and message through that religion. His answer will not be separated. This is strong. He'll cut their road and force them to survive alone. This means that the story around Disney could be very difficult from a simple attack on a castle wall. Ernest may avoid wasting thousands of the soldiers and repeating assault, insisting he could surround that the wider region and slowly remove its supported market outside Byzantine control that the redirected road can be watched. Reinforcement could be intercept village, maybe Otton's protection squad could study hidden gate, water road and weak area in the defensive system. This will allow that the drama to build over several stages. The audience will show that a great target is approaching, but the conquest will not happen immediately. Every smaller move will have a purpose. A tower's filling and a road handling to hand, or a local commander switching loyalty will bring Usman Arhans to closer to a main prize. This approaching will also help avoid reputation because not every success will depend on a large sweet fight. Similar will happen between that the enemy become isolated. Other world happen because others understand what the enemy need and remove it. The strongest ruler in which story are often that the ones who make that the component releases that the fact has already begun before the final attack. Inside Versa, however, Arhans will face a completely different problem. A battlefield can sometimes be understood clearly because that the enemies stand on the opposite sides. A place is more difficult because love, grief, loyalty, jealousy, and the responsibility exist is the same place. The tensions between Nullifer and Sarkarka has been growing for a long time, and that the death of the Daffy make that the tensions more painful. The official set up may state that the Nullifer is shaken by the Daffy death and dragged her anger toward Asperka, disputes everything what happened between the sister. This is emotionally believable between grief does not always follow logic. Nullifer can give that the Daffy more dangerous choices and still face that the pain of losing someone connected to her family. This pain could make every old problem with the Sparka return at once. Here I did not think will be solved by one conversation or one apology. It is more like to become a long struggle about placing respect, motherhood, and the influence inside that the place nullifies. Stronger development should come when she refuses to remain only a jealous woman. If she writer want to make her story stronger, her pain can become that the beginning of a more active political rule. Nullifer now that the Byzantine world in way many people around Orhan do know. Seven she understand custom language, family connections and do the thinking of the people who grew up on the other side. These abilities can become extremely important when Orhan has become focused more seriously on Isaac and is making sense of the fighting Asperka only for the Ah's attentions. Nullifer could prove her important by helping identify Byzantine political weakness. She should recognize that the name of an important family, understand when a commander distract another or now which leader and the commander group are unhappy with the Constantinople. This will give her power and does not affect on romance. It could also change Arhan's view of her. He will see that the nullifier is not simply someone he needs to perfect emotionally. She is someone who can help predict that the state development will make that the play story connected directly with the military story rather than feeling like a separated drama. Asperka, on the other hand, could move in the opposite direction. Her earlier story has been placed her in situations where she must defend her position, survive suspicion, and prove that she cannot easily be pushed aside. In the next day, I expect her to become clever, but she politely careful. She now that the direct conflict with Nullifer can damage her hands and create weakness inside that the places. She may still refuse to surrender her places, but she should stop answering every attack with another attack. Instead, Sparka may begin building sporting through action. He should not take responsibility for wounded after feather. Organize force people affected to the attack or help manage communications inside Bursa while Arhans is away. This would make it harder for an enemy to describe her as a woman. Problem if begins respected her because of what she does rather than because of her relationship with Arhans, her position becomes potter. Nullifer might then they discover that anger alone cannot remove Asperka. The conflict will become more interesting because both women will have real influences and Arhans will have to make sure their worry does not damage that the future he is trying to build. This is also that the possibility that the question of the shoulder and the succession will become more important. Earlier tension understand because between that these women including refers to the possibility of the Sparka having a child using give that the places conflict a larger meaning that the personal jealousy. In a running family, every child can change aliens expectation and the future plan. My prediction is not necessarily that the same next story is that the announcing a pregnancy. A better approach will be led to the possibility itself fact that the character Nullifer may fear that her security inside that the places is changing. Asperka may understand that the people who now see her differently evidence her and the relative could begin thinking about that the future even before anything is confirmed. And has meanwhile will probably dislike seeing this family turn into political group. He is fighting enemies cannot competition inside that his one household to become another battlefield. They may push him to establish clear rule inside that the places he can make it inside that the respect for his family is not optical and that no one will use his children's wives or relative has told in a private struggle for power. Malhun Hatun could become extremely important in controlling this tension. She has enough experience to understand that a family disputes inside a rolling houses can become a political crisis. Each others begin choosing side. Her rule may therefore be less about thinking one woman's side and more about predicting that the unity of the family. She could remind everyone that the enemy is the watching Basa for weakness. Every rumor from the places can travel outside, representing against here that the Orhan's household is connected, divided. They will try to use that the division. Malhur make Redis nullify to run give into responsibility while warning Sparka not to mistake Orhan's protection for permission to create new conflict. She could also give out women separate responsibilities so that their energy is directly toward useful work. This is only way that the show can let experienced character matter without repeating over argument. Mehan does not need to resolve everything herself. Her important can come from recognizing a danger because young people recognize it. She has lived through enough struggle to know that the state can be damaged from the inside even while their armies are winning outside. The story of Fatma and the Avina so far a very difficult emotional part. The previous part brought them back to the Basa safely and Avina's innocence was finally revealed, giving new hope to a relationship that had repeatedly been damaged by suspicion and outside influence. It will be easy for the next story simplify by give them a waiting and close that the problem. I do not think that the waiter should be that immediately. The relationship become more meaningful if that the final of that is not another forced association but that the responsibility created by war. Evidence may finally have to the chain to be with Fatma. Only for Orhan to need him on the extremely dangerous missions, Fatma will then face a more mature choice instead of wondering whether Avina's love her or whether his innocence. She will have to accept that loving a various meal, loving with uncertainty. This can make the relationship stronger. The story will make him misunderstanding to sacrifice. Fatma could also insisting on the taking responsibility rather than the remaining safety behind, showing that she has going through everyone she survived. Happiness could become one of the earth's more vulnerable men in the next comparison because he has already experienced what it means to be suspended, isolated, and the trapped between different groups. A man who survived each experience often becomes more careful and hence might use him for the missions where diplomacy and the observation are so important as fighting. For example, Agnes could travel toward the frontier statement pretending as local matter while secretly studying that the defenses around an important road. He could meet Christian's leader who feared that the media's feeble figure with distress in summers and who care more about safe trade than the political loyalty. Through evidence that the series can show that the world around us is not divided into two simple groups, not only Byzantine subjects spotted that the mirrors and not Turkey's way automatically spot Arhans. People make choices based on the safety, family, fight, trade, or ground, and the personal ambition. Understanding this choice is now Arhans can explain his influences. Avina's mission could therefore become one of the bridge between that the personal story and the wider political transformation. Fatma herself should also serve more than a romantic role. His experience had made her family with the dangerous betrayal capacity and the cause fired by the ordinary people. She could begin working more closely with the women arriving in the Bursa for contesting authorities. Through them, she may hear information that the former species will never discover. If this notice will make her the block which commander are cruel where food is disappear and which villagers are preparing to the flee. Fatma may elicit that this story create a map of the enemy weakness instead of the finding information through a secret document. She can find it by listening to the people. This will be a flash kind of the heightened story when she gives us information that help prevent an ambush and identifies a new enemy's movement. Her value will become clear. It will also show why a growing state needs more than various information can come from markers, family, traveler, craftsman, religious figure, and displacement villager. A ruler who listens to at all more see than the commander who only listens to the soldier. Line situation is likely to bring back the darkest emotional tensions at the beginning. The final left her the facing terrible uncertainty after learning that something had happened to the Durson. She has been waiting for the reunion only to face that the possibility that he might never return. My prediction is that Durson is not only true gone, at least not immediately. If that has been threatened only has a simple ended. These stories could have confirmed it directly. Leaving line will uncertainly create room for the issue, a hidden impressions or a final confrontation between Dustin and the Dairyman. I believe Dustin may be badly wounded and believed dead by some character while actually being here somewhere away from the main battlefield. This will allow his story with the Dairyman to continue. Their conflict is personal because they are brothers, which make it differently from Orhan's struggle with external enemies. The Rimsman's ambitions has the four dozen two choices between blood and what he believes is right. The choices deserve a stronger conclusion than an unclear message reaching that the place. Limes may refuse to remain in the bus after hearing that the news. At first, the family will probably try to stop her for acting emotionally, and especially will now that the rushes toward an important location could create another hostage solution. But Lime may also something in the report that other ignores, perhaps that the number of the bodies does not match that the number of the man involved. Perhaps a messenger never actually said Dustin dies. Perhaps an Adam believed to belong to the Dustin is missing. This small detail can give her hope. Instead of the learning badly into danger, she can begin asking questions. This would grave has into investigator. Fatma may help her because she understands what it feels like a refuse or forced conclusions about someone you love. Together, they could discover that the Dustin was taken to a location controlled by a man connected to the dreams man. The suit attempt would have become contracted to the larger conflict with the censor. Hence, could eventually approve a carefully planned operation, but Lime could be central of discovering that the trust. This gives her agency without making her act unrealistically. Dustin's survival, if it happens, should come with a coastal and she does not simply turn completely unchanged. He may be seriously injured or he may learn something during capacity that changing his relationship with his brother forever. Damirhan could research him and try to justify everything he has done. Dustin may finally understand that the brother he remembered no longer exists in the same way. This can create a powerful movement without requiring long dialogue. This important part is what Dustin choosing afterward. He may escape with knowledge of the censor remaining forces secret road or the planned betrayal. This information could directly help Orhan in this way. Dustin's personal suffering affect that the main war. When he finally reaches Slime, their union can be emotional because it comes after bout of them has changed. Slime will have the fought again disappear, while Dustin will have survived at the final destruction of his ally to the Demirhan. Their relationship could then move toward a more serious future instead of returning to exactly where it was before. Damir hence may become one of the characters who finally realizes that the Sansa is willing to sacrifice him. Until now, Mission and the family conflicts has pushed Damir and deeper into danger choices. But men like Sansa rarely treat characters as equal but defect approaches. If Orhan's authorities began working, Sansa may need someone to be blamed. Damirhan could become that the person. He may be ordered to defect any possible position or attack with two men. At first, he could believe this is simply part of war, but eventually he may discover that the Sansa has prepared an escape for himself while leaving Damirhan behind. This would force Damir's hand to create as the result of his one decision. He betrayed important bond in the hope of the gaining power, only to discover that the man he followed never truly valued him. This show could damn the choice between two this stronger story ending. For the Damir hand he could sudden bonds and die because he refused to admit he was wrong. Or he could perform one final act and save Dustin of have defect Sansa. Depression will not assert his crime, but it could give his ending emotional weight. Sansa's final defect should happen only after Orhan take every resources of his power. First, his alliance with the Miriam should waken. Then some of his followers should abandon him. Next is exiled to supplies and safe fruit should disappear. Only after that the should Orhan confront him directly. This will make that the confrontation feel like the last moment of a long strategy later than a lucky victory. Sansa may try to escape to a Byzantine treaty, believing that the Medias will protect him. Instead, he could discover that the Byzantine no longer need him. From this point of view, a failed ally who now too many secrets is a danger. The mirror man might ever try to the capture or kill him. This would be a fighting result for someone who built his plan about around betrayal. He would simply become that the victim of the same political thinking he used against him. Orhan could interrupt him because that the center too at that the moment Sansa will understand that every part has flaws. His ending will spoil aside more than the effect of an enemy. It will show that the period of the divided local power is slowly giving way to the Orhan's stronger center authority. But even after Sansa failed, the series need a larger enemy. Other races cannot continue if every challenging is showing by the effective one the rebellions be. The new threat could become one of the changing Byzantine political world. Constantinople may send a new commander who understands that the others cannot be stopping using that the same method they already failed. The person could be older and more patient than the previous enemies of the insulting arrogant or seeking personal glory. He might suddenly automate weakness quietly. He can avoid open battle while Saturn is sneaking encourage resistance in Izmir, paving peace and the creating trade problem around Bursa. As strategic enemies will faces Orhan to become more strategic as well. The new commander even respect ability which make him more dangerous. At least someone cases mistake but respect can make an enemy careful. The new Byzantine figure could recognize that the Bursa is no longer a temporary conquest. It is becoming that the heart of a growing political power. Therefore, his goal could be the prevent that power for connected to the authorities and connected that the road toward that the east and the coast. The larger country will also give Laudin stronger rule and her cannot personality lead enemy investigate every settle every disagreement and manage every new territory. Laudin abilities can become important in administrations, planning, and the diplomacy. The problems are brother do not need to complete Constantinople for the story to be interesting. In fact, their different strength can show why the state is becoming stronger. Saham may be visible military leader when already recognizes that the structure behind that the victories. New authorities need just market security and the clear rules. Soldier can take a gate, but someone must make life continue after that the gate opens. Loudon could oversee this work in Bursa while also advising us about Allison. The relationship can be still disagreement because two intelligence men can see that the same problem differently. However, their disagreement do not have to become betrayal. A mature story could show that they agree over method while remaining local to the same goal. This would feel fresher than repeating a simple brother against brother conflict. Gonza's position could connect with Laudin development as well. After that, the accident even around her family and the child, but she may become more protected of the stability they have gained rather than being pulling into every disagreement, and they could encourage allow them to think about that the world their child will inherit. This creates a quieter but important theme. Our generation is no longer fighting only for survival. They now their children grow up inside a state that did not exist in the same from they were young. Every decisions began to have a longer future. Road castles, marriage, Alice's, and these law are not temporary choices anymore. They are becoming that the foundation for the next generation. The idea can give emotional meaning to the political story. When Ernst look at his family, say a reason he cannot allow that the state remain weak. When Laudin look at his child, he say why instruction matter. When the women of the places protect their children, they are also protecting different part of the dynasty futures. A relationship with his one children can become another sign that time is moving forward. As responsibility increases, he may notice that the younger member of the family she watches everything he does. They are learning which leadership means from his behavior, not simple from his instruction. This can force Orhan to control his anger more carefully. Earlier in his life, he could personally cases and the enemy because that they mostly feel on him and the man who chooses to follow him. As Sultan Orhan's more impulsive decision can affect thousands of the people. The next stress could repeatedly show this difference. He may want reward for the fallen soldier but chooses to delay an attack because that the ground is wrong. He may want to punish that a suspicion commander but with until proof is found. She may naturally dislike a Byzantine leader but still if interrogations give his people an advantage. These decisions make a ruler like stronger, not weaker. The story of the Guru Sarhan should increasingly be about that the burden of choosing when not to use that the sword. The people of the Balsa should also become more visible in the coming story. A capital is not simply a place with soldiers around it. It contained trader, craftsmen, scholar, farmer, religious communities, refugees, children, and the family who need safety after a period of war. And has made word to a marker of the review report showing that the conflict has created shortage, grain prices may rise, road may become dangerous, containment may be afraid to travel. This creates a challenge that cannot be solved through victory alone. This can create a strong contrast between that the image of the confused and that the difficult work behind it. A victory on the battlefield lasts one day, but preparing enough food for thousands of the soldiers requires weeks of the planning. Ahaz may become angry when he learned that some supply officers are stealing against or the charging unfair prices instead of ignoring corruption because between wars is approaching. He finishing that responsible man. He understands that an enemy can be destroyed by the corrupted before meeting that the enemy. The storyline could also connect with ordinary people in the Bassa merchant may intentionally complain about state control. But I has explained that the enemy will pay fair prices rather than the taking supply without payment. They earn public support. A respected merchant could then become an important new character. He might help arrange supply for the comparison but also have the family connection in the Byzantine tone through him can receive economic information. The merchants could report that some Byzantine towns are suffering because imperial Starkis has increased to pay for the war. People are angry. They want hence other opportunity. Instead of protecting every settlement, he may send massive promises over taxes and the prediction to town that the peacefully accepted Ottoman authorities. Some will reject that the offer, but others may quietly consider it. The Emirates will understand how dangerous this strategy is. The town began changing side without battle. The Emperor school lost authority much larger than they expected. He may therefore order his governor to punish everyone suspected or communication with the Orhan. The Hermitage will create more resentment when town could become that the center of his conflict. The governor is loyal to Constantinople, but many citizens want peace and does not attack immediately. He surrounded that the road and the wait inside that the town was becoming expensive. The governor became arresting merchants, excusing of helping that the Ottoman people become fighting and the Agin uniform may suggested sending a trusty messenger who can speak the trusted family inside that the town. Now that the public scoundrel is the difficult become people fear Carl treated. Instead, they need a way to the change control while protecting their honor. The messenger could promise that the town leader will be allowed to continue managing local matters if they accept his authority and the stop supporting Byzantine military operations. The governor discovered part of his plan and the other association. This become that the points where that the population finally turned against him. During the night, some guards open small gate and allow Ottomans caught inside. They do not immediately attack. They first ensure that the open storage and prevent that the governor from the building. Surprised by morning, Ottoman banner appear over that the wall with every fighter fighting. The kind of the quest with her move and his reputation grow quickly. Orhan's towns will hear that he can win without destroying them. The Miras war faction will become more devastated, but they become send a famous commander to restore fairly along that the front. This new Byzantine member should be very difficult from the previous enemy. He should be disciplined, sharp and respected by his one soldier. He does not kill people simply to show loyalty. He underestimates strategy, and now that he has become stronger every time Byzantine leader behave brutally. Because of this, the commander may actually improve condition in the authorities he control. He pays his soldier property, pushing loyalty and speak respectfully to the local leader. This led him more important difficult for the Orhan to defect politically. People may genuinely support him. They worry because Orhan and the commander could welcome of the strongest storyline for the reason because both men will able to the capable leader with the different goals. Their first meeting might happen during a prisoner exchange rather than a battle. They observe each other carefully. No long dramatic dialogue is necessary for the prediction. The important point is that the board recognize that the other has a serious opponent. Afterward, Orhan tells his commander not to underestimate his man. The Byzantine commander gives that the same warning around Orhan. Their conflict will become a battle of the patience. The Byzantine commander may first return several castle instead of attacking Orhan's release. He is building a defensive line around Iznik. A direct attack will cost too many Ottoman lives. Therefore, Orhan is causing to believe that the line has a weakened point. He sends scholars to study every castle. One has a strong ward but poor water access. Another has plenty of food but a small garrison. A third depends on the supply arriving through a forest road identified to attack none of them immediately since he blocked at the forest road. controlled that the water sources and sent false information suggested that the Hus Ottoman's angry army is moving toward that the strongest fortress. The Byzantine member more reinforcements they are weakening that the other positions only then thus Orhan's attack that the smaller castle. The battle is short but important. Once that the castle failed, the reserve defensive line became less stable. The Byzantine member realizes he has been overplayed, but he does not panic. He withdraws in good order and prepare another trap. This is where Orhan could suffer a serious setback. He may believe that the enemy is retreating toward Iznik and order his cavalry to the follow. The retreat is actually planned. Ottoman rider enter an area where hidden actors and the heavy infantry are the waiting. Civil waiter fair because Orhan can stop that the pursuit. A trusty commander may be badly wounded. Orhan's manager to save most of the forces, but that the loss hurt into deeply because he knew that the mistake was his. This is important. Orhan should not win every strategic contest. A strong enemy makes the dimensional victory more meaningful. Back in the camp, some younger soldiers will expect Orhan to blame someone else. Instead, he accepted responsibility. He studied what happened and underestimated that his opponent used that the same kind of deceptions Orhan himself often uses. This creates respect between the two commanders while increasing the danger. The wounded Ottoman leader may survive but not able to fight for a long period. This creates an opening for a younger commander to take responsibilities. The younger man is talented but inexperienced. Science give him a limited command and warn him not to chase glory. Later, this young commander will face a chain to attack the retracting Byzantine unit. Remembering his mistake, he chooses not to follow blindly. Discussion saved the soldier from another trap. When Orhan hears this is probably because his one failure because a lesson from someone else. This is where leadership can grow exceed generation. In Cybersa, the political story will continue development. At the same time, Nulufar may receive a secret letter from someone in the Byzantine authority asking for help. The writer could be a woman from a noble family who once knew Nulufar because her life changed. The woman says her husband has been arrested because the imperial court suggested him negotiation with the Orhan's. Nulufar want to help, but the Orhan's feared that the latter could be biased. Asparka may agree with the Orhan's while surprised Nulufar insists of arguing that the two women examined the letter together. They notice a small detail proving it is genuine. Perhaps a family expression or symbol that an outsider will be now. Orhan agreed to help but refused to take risk. A large group. A secret issue mission began. The mission could never Asparka and the changing to cooperated directly for the first time. They still distract each other emotionally but both understand that the political importance of saving the family. If the nobleman surviving, he could become an important source of the information about Constantinople. The operation succeeds only partly. The man is refused but his wife is captured because she can escape. This creates a painful decision. This nobleman wants Orhan to immediately send Varys back to her. Orhan refuses because the prisoner is now heavily guarded and attack will cost many lives. Nulufar becomes angry at first because she underestimated the family plan. Aspark, however, reminds her that the ruler cannot risk Rosen for people without a resolute plan. Nulufar realizes Orhan is not being heartless, this is carrying responsibility. They begin searching for another matter. Prisoner exchange may become possible. The Byzantine has captured important Ottoman scholars while Orhan's whole civil immediate officer allowed him propose an exchange that included the noble woman. The Byzantine member intentionally refused because he knew that the woman has the political value. Orhan then adds something unexpected. He offered to release one having officer who is important to the commander. The exactly expand is expected. This will show that the Orhan can achieve through negotiations when an attack will not achieve. The issue noble family that give Orhan important information about political division into inside Constantinople. They explain that the immediate court is more vulnerable than it is appears. Some noble fear that the military sending it destroys them financially. Others secretly believe frontier cities cannot be saved. Their information shape Orhan's next strategy rather than trying to conquer every fortress by force. This will create political pressure around them. Later will travel to governor offering terms. Merchants will carry stores or safe town under Ottoman control. Captured soldier who was treated well will be released so that they describe what they say. Every small action through part of a larger physiological comparison. The new presenter commander understand that this and try to answer in the same way. He began releasing captured Ottoman soldiers with the message saying Orhan is sending them into endless wars. Some soldiers returned confused because that the commander treated respectfully. Orhan does not push him for speaking about this, insists he now this is a good enemy can still be an enemy. This is another important lesson for the younger warriors. They do not need to believe every opponent to administer in order to fight for their one state. Such capability will make rural Orhan more mature. The conflict could that the more toward a great fortress protected that the road to Iznik. The fortress had resisted several small Ottoman attacks and the new Byzantine commander had fitted with experienced soldiers. Orhan's leases alongside could drain his army. He needed a way inside a local corruption approaching that the Ottoman camp and believed that he once had prepared part of the fortress. He now about an all underground water channel. The information she promised, but the Orhan's mind questioned because it would be another trap. He sent two squads to investigate, only one returned. The survivor confirmed that the tunnel exists but said that the other squad was captured. Now that the Byzantine may now Orhan had discovered that the road, many commanders agreed that the tunnel squad should be abandoned. So I think importantly but that the enemy about that the tunnel they give accept and attack through this explanation can be used. He prepared a small unit to enter that the tunnel loudly through to be discovered. At the same time, the main attack will appear somewhere else. The Byzantine defender contracted soldiers near that the underground intelligence. Soldiers enduring quietly weaken other sections of war during that the night. The turning group behind fighting, taking that the defector believed that the real attack has started. Then that the waves will collapse. Orhan's main focus center from the respective side. The Byzantine commander is not inside that the fortress, so his most important leadership survived that the positions failed. The victory opened at the lower water toward Iznik. However, Orhan discovered that the captured score was associated. The loss prevented the victory from the feeling completely joyful, and summoned that the score and promised support to his family. Against that, the series can show that the conquest always has a human cost. Back in Bursa, Malun Hatun may watches this is changing, will bow pride and the concern. She is becoming that the ruler Usman hope he won't become. But she also sees how much pressure he carries. Her sleep-led study man contest nipple and receive message at all the hours. Mahir may warn him at a runners will never rest, even eventually make mistake. And she smackly dismisses that the concern because enemy do not rest. Soon afterward, however, association affect one of his decisions. He disread a report or become too angry during a concert. This small movement can humiliate his loudly may eventually take over some responsibility without making her feel weak. Or has become underestimated that the trusting other is not the same as losing control. This could become one of the central themes of the section. This state becomes strong only when the others learn to the shared responsibility. Fatma, Halaim, Nulifar, Sparka, Alauddin, Avina, Darsan and the commander. All this is rule have become cannot personality do something. They also allowed that the show to follow a civil story without moving away from that the main theme. Each character is helping build or protect that there is some larger future. The traitor who escaped Bursa itself could repair during this comparison. He may now work directly with the new Byzantine member, however that the commander dislike him. He accepts that the information because it is useful but does not trust a man who become his one ruler. This creates tension between them. The traitor expected Samar and the Ramar after reaching Byzantine authority, but insists he is treated like a tool. He allows showing that the Constantinople never planned to respond to him. The same thing happened to many people who betray one side expected from acceptance from another. His anger could eventually make him unpredictable. He may send a secret message to the heirs offering information in exchange for the forgiveness and received as the message were refused to promise forgiveness. He only said that the trustful information may effective judges later. This is important because Orhan should not betray too easily. The traitor can provide detail around that the Byzantine defective plan toward Iznik. Only check that the information carefully before acting. Part of it is true, part of it is false because that the traitor himself does not know everything. This keeps that the story is late using that the useful information and discovered that the Byzantine member is preparing a surprise naval movement. civilian ship will bring soldiers and the weapons to the coast while Orhan's army is focused inland. The plan is similar to the other maritime threat, but this time Orhan is the prepared. He begins situating small coastal observation points. Fishermen and the local sailors become part of the warning system. At night, civilian fare can communicate that the survival of the annoying ship. These simple systems greatly involve Ottoman reaction when that the Byzantine ship finally appears and does not attempt to discover them at all. This sea because its naval power is still limited. In seas, some of the soldiers and the Byzantine troops leave their chief surprise. Then Ottoman cavalry cut them off from their store. After prevented from returning to the ship, the landing force became tracked. The Byzantine member elicited that the naval advantage can no longer guarantee success, that they will push that the Imperials toward even more disappear political method. Constantinople may not try to contact an alliance without another religion's power that also fear and suspicion. The new ally does not need to love that the Byzantine sheer fear is enough. Once intelligence learned that the secret and we are traveling is loud in war, that if the alliance is completed, Ottoman forces could face its enemies as two front and declare diplomacy much more faster than war. He sent that the envy to the same religion ruler. Instead of the demanding stability, he offered trade before granting and the marriage connection between Ali's family. The ruler now they has offered Byzantine promised gold and the sports against Orhan has promised long-term stability. The political constant continue for the survival episode. The ruler decision will depend on which appears stronger and more trustworthy. Byzantine agents may attempt to kill one of the enemy and blame Constantinople political rival. The attempt failed, exposing the level of the disappearance inside the imperial network. The religion's ruler, because suspicion of the Byzantine promise, essentially his choice naturally rather than the joining either side, for his majority is enough. He does not need every leader to become his ally. He only needs to stop his enemy from combining against him. The diplomatic success free Orhan to continue toward Iznik. The new Byzantine commander prepared one final defensive plan. He now cannot defect every road forever. Instead, he chooses a battlefield where that the Ottoman army must go difficult ground. A river or wade various sources and make normal very tastic less useful. The commander building defensive and the places searcher where they can attack Ottoman troops during that the crosses. Ottoman study that the area analysis a direct advice will be disastrous. Some commanders suggested another route, but that the war takes so long and now Byzantine reinforcement to arrive. Orhan need another solution. He ordered engineers and the local worker to begin building a temporary crossing at night person and stream at that the main crossing. Orhan stopped great noises and appeared to prepare for the battle. The Byzantine member believe Orhan will attack here before sunrise. A large part of the Ottoman forces closes at the hidden location. The plan also succeeds completely, but a Byzantine scholar discovered that the moment the enemy thrust part of his army toward that the new crossing, a hug better before the Ottoman trap are the across has is separated from some of his strongest units for survival. However, the outcome remain uncertain. This should be one of this is better where strategic great that the opportunity, but the Inquiry decided with that the opportunity survive. Having school leader disappeared, trying to protect that the crossing doesn't now recover enough to survive, even fight behind him. The younger commander introduced earlier hold that the center in seas of facing that the enemy. Allowing if present may organize reinforcements and the prevent panic eventually that the Ottoman army complete that the crossing. The Byzantine defensive position is attacked from a direction it was not designed to face. The commander ordered organized retreat rather than allowing his entire army to be betrayed. Having that the battlefield but once again sees more open and escape. This is important because the worry should continue. The Byzantine member reaches Iznik with the feeble soldier but remain dangerous enough that the city wall and sea connection give him one final advantage. Orhan arrived outside that the region and understood that the new state will be far more different than the previous fortress battle. He cannot fully block that the sea as long as he being supplies a normal sink and lost a very long time. The Ottoman leadership become people discussing how to weaken that the sea connections. Locals suggested controlling smaller coastal point toward Iznik. If Orhan cannot defect that the Byzantine fleet directly, he can move it harder to from large ship to approach safety. Small boat can watch movement, wide arches and the safe weapons protected contain landing area. This will become that the beginning of the Orhan development greater underestimate in the naval power. He will understand that the state expanding around important coastal region cannot affect only on land army. The realizations could influence the future season in a major way. He may order construction for more boat and encourage experienced sailors to join Ottoman survive the period of the future began with small practical decisions inside Iznik. The Byzantine commander tried to maintain morals. He tells civilians will that the help will come from the Constantinople but full deliverables less renewables. Commander captured some supply ship near that the coast. Merchants began refusing dangerous journeys. Price inside that the city rise. As against often peaceful turn, the commander refuses. The times, however, that the civilians inside that the city already know what happened in time that the accepted Ottomans control. They now this display were not destroyed. Fear of the sounder is therefore because the commander underestimated that and this written control here as another supporting story flavor to the Orhan. The decision created exactly that the wrestleman he wanted to the avoid. This year become as much as a political battle inside that the city has a military struggle outside. Nullifer may support it suggested massive from a Christian religion inside Harden is asking for Erhans will truly protect their community. Arhans give a clear guarantee. The message of quietly processing could help communicate with the noble family will lose power their properties. Arhans guarantee that this is who do not fight against it will not automatically lose everything. This is from me become breaking that the unity inside that the city. The Byzantine commander learn about that the secret contact and become furious. Yet he cannot rest half that the population he receives time is working against him. He decided to force hands into a direct attack, doing that the Byzantine soldier lived through a hidden gate and attacked, and Ottomans simply kept the burned gate and killed civil guard before escaping. The damage is serious. For the first time do it that they said the Ottoman camp facing food pressure. Some base suggested and that the state anti-supply can be rebuilt. Arhans refused to abandon to comparison but understand their staying without food is possible. Allowed to take responsibility for solving that the supply crisis and leader to Arbarsa and the light town while also buying grain from nearby village at fair prices. Fatma and their lime help recognize supply inside Barsa, showing how even at the front and capable are the connected merchant who truly has agreed to the provide food even though the payment may come later. This is where earlier God corners split military strength because has treated merchant fairly before they now support him during crisis. The Cyprian ran recovered faster than the Byzantine member expected. His attacks yet during damage but failed to end at the state and learned from the mistake and the threatened at the camp. The next Byzantine right find prepared defensive and suffer heavy loss. Eventually winter or the difficult winter may approaching increasing pressure on both sides. Arhans multiplied with her to continue or withdrawing. Alongside Rick's illness as association, the Byzantine commander believing time forward favored him. The Arhans receiving unexpected news. The political group in Constantinople then the wanting rotation has gained influence because the war is becoming too expensive. The emperor cannot send another large army immediately. Smith is not immediately isolated that his commander Ulysses has kept his information secret and sent one final rounded offer. The commander again refuses because he never refuses will come several days later. The promised imperial ship failed to appear confident inside that the city collapsed. A group of the locals leader approaching that the commanders and the damaged rotation refuses and they threaten them. The night part of the city guarded rebel. They do not immediately open the main gate but they size one the turners inside burning inside Iznik. His commander want to attack immediately and hesitated because a full assault could kill that the same citizens who were rising against that the governors. Instead, he sent a small force toward that the siege tower while keeping that the main army ready. The rebel opened a narrow inheritance. Ottoman soldiers entered and the secure nearby street. The Byzantine member organized resistance around that the control forces. Now that the final battle takes place inside that the city rather than at the outer wall. Arhans ordered his men to avoid home and protect civilians. This slowed that the advance but prevent choices. The Byzantine member Ulysses he cannot win. He has one changing to escape by the sea. She wait at the hidden landing point and Scott discovered that the plan. Everyone reaches that the store just as the commander prepared to the leave. The commander choices to fight rather than the surrounded easily. The grass could be intense but the Arhans himself may die because that the final movement. insists of killing that the commander immediately offered him surrender because he respected his courage. The Byzantine commander refusing or accept defending on the direction the writer want. If he survived, he could later return at a political opponent. If he died, his honor resistance could distance him from more the richest enemies. Either way, Izmir failed. The conquest will mark a major change in the balance of the power and has made control another important locations as he gained vulnerable experience could with her wear form and that the victory also places him closer to the center of the Byzantine power. Constantinople can no longer ignore him now reaches that the imperial places that another people important position has been lost. The reader understands that the earnest God is no longer temporary and new strategies become necessary. It should be the ending point of the section 2. Instead of immediately sending another army, Constantinople began looking beyond it one border for the help. Later, I prepared for the region's ruler, military order, and the powerful normal families. The imperials were trying to turn original struggle into the international conflict. At the same time, Orhan stands inside that the truly controlling city and does not celebrate for long. He ordered that the marquis protected him. A local leader recognized from distribution. He appointed trusted official. He asked which road need repair and which defensive needs are struggling. This is what the separated concrete from the rules. His various may want to speak only about that the victory, but Hans is already thinking about what comes next. Saladin arrived with the report from the Bassa. The state is the stronger, but the cost of the contact war is growing. Soldier need rest. Regis petting has increased. Some village has too many young men and understand that the under conflict without stability could eventually destroy what he is building for the first time. He may seriously consider a period of the controlling pieces, yet his enemy will not necessarily allow it. A secret messenger from Constantinople life at a foreign court. Another messenger traveled toward the regional thrillers. A third carries gold for the new space. The final scene of the prediction sections could show that the violence is trying to give his people rest. The next storm is already being prepared. The difference now is that the earth is no longer surprised by the assistance of the enemy. Now every victory clear, fair fleets is Alice's. Alice's crisis new world. His goal is not to the life without enemies. His goal is to the build a state strong enough to the survive them. Nullifer may have a clear political rule after proving that her knowledge can protect that the dynasty. Absparka will also come more active, creating a different but useful balance inside that the places. Their story will continue, but both will understand that destroy each other will weaken their children and the earnest fatness and the evidence will move into a more steady stage, but trust replaces contest suspicion line and the desertion will turn possible suffering inside survive for the people affected by the conflict. Housing will become increasingly important because every contract creates administrative problem only he and other trusted statements can solve. The younger commander will begin forming that the next generations of the Ottoman military leaderships at their hand will solely change from the wider who specially solve every crisis into the Sultan who created peoples and the system capable of solving problems. Without him, this is important transformation for the future of the Kurus. If the story only shows Arhan's winning sword fight, his character will remain limited. But if showing building intelligence, network managing river leader development, trade, protected civil created coastal defensive trained commander using diplomacy and learning from the defect, yet this year will feel much larger. The conquest of a city will no longer be end of the storyline. It will be beginning of the responsibility. Every banner rise over a war creating new questions. Will protect that the metric? Who will knowledge dispute? Who will prepare damaged road? Who will damage that the garrisons? How will customs resistance be treated? How will tested be collected? How will food reaches that the peoples? What happen if the Golgonda spotters rebel? What happen if Constantinople science species? These questions are the real work of the building a state. Hence, will increasing understand that the Ottoman future depending on the answering them. One of the strongest emotional scene of his prediction part could come when Ahans finally has a quiet moment after that the conquest. He walked toward the city without a hung military ceremony. Children watch Ottoman soldiers repairing a damaged gate. Merchants problem stop. My family will stop weak. Wearing better return to the street and see that this is ordinary movement are the reason that war matter. Castor is more vulnerable because it war belong to him. It is vulnerable because of the people and what it protect. It understanding could become the art of his leadership. Later, he may receive a letter reminding him how fragile that PCC, the Phantom village, has been attacked by the knowing leader. Nobody now whether they belong to the Byzantines, are rebellious or a simple bandit. Orhan cannot personality read there for the first time. He sent one of the younger commander with clear authorities. The commander successfully plotted that the village and does that the attractor. When the reporter returns and lists something important, the stated active without him. This is not a loss of the power, it is a proof that his power is becoming permanent. A ruler who state collapse with her he leave, he is not truly strong. A ruler who building capable people create something they can survive beyond is one timeline. This idea become more important as Orhan think about his children. The dynasty is the growing, the decision made now will shape that they will inherit. Nulfer and the Sparka may about understand in different ways. The children will grow up inside that the consequence of today analysis and the worries. Their relation must prevent their conflict from becoming completely destructive. They do not need to love each other. They need to understand that the future of the family is larger than the personal anger. Small hands can help guide this process. Her experience allows her to see where small disagreement can become political division. They may proudly want Orhan's that the place's life itself is becoming a center of the power. Servant, commander, relative, and the visitor watch every interaction. It people believe nullify and the sparkle represented to the political sides. Faction will form around him even if the weaker women want that. Therefore, Orhan need to prevent that the household from becoming divided into camp. He may establish clear responsibility in uniform, oversee contents and the diplomatic matters. Sparkle could manage different places or the political responsibility department. The line could have their one area of the work. Their structure gave everyone purpose and the contest competition for the attention. Still, an enemy could try to explore that the suggested enemy tensions are forgot. Messi may be sent to nullify suggested Sparka secretly contact Byzantine Nobel. Another forgot letter may reach Sparka claiming nullify want a remove from Bursa. In the past, bout women may have believed such message. Now they will be more careful. Instead of immediately confronting each other, they take that the letter to the Orhan. The handwriting and seal are examined. The forgery is the discovered. This will be a satisfying example of the character learning from the earlier manipulation. The suspect created that the letter is the catcher. During questioning, he revealed that the Byzantine plan was not necessary to kill Orhan. It was to divide his family into political factions forming around each woman. The discovery shocked everyone, but it shows how closely Constantinople is the study Bursa. Other response by studying internal security but again avoid turning that the place into a prisoners. He now fear can destroy trust as effectively as his peace. Another mature threat could involve that the economic cost of the expensive after repeating comparison that the tragedy began feeling pressure. Laudin warned that the trusted for gratis paying soldiers, supporting family of the dead, repairing road and the maintaining new cities require more money than before. Some advisors suggested later taxing immediately earns the action if taxes become too heavy. People who welcome Ottoman's rule may regret it. Instead, she focus on increasing trade, safer route, law more the merchant to the trade. New markets are created. Custom duty are organized fairly. Agricultural area damaged by war receiving temporary support. This is political suggested one without getting immediately resentment. They do not look as dramatic as a battle, but it gives that the story a sense of real state building. An enemy could then try to attack that the economy directly. Benefit made targeting merchants, caravans, allowing an important road. At first, everyone consumed they are normal criminals. Everyone discovered they are receiving weapons from Byzantine agents. The goal is to make Ottoman's road appear unsafe. It Ottomans stopped traveling but are reporting money and the public confidence declined and has responded by creating regular patrol and the protected caravan road. Fatima may help gathering personal complaint and identify where attack happened most often. A patron revealed that the location of the bandit base. The younger commander led that the operation against it. Inside that, the camp Ottoman soldier found Byzantine gold. Orhan's publicity destroyed that the evidence to the merchant. This proved that the enemy's secret operation into political damage for Constantinople. Merchants who were free to the travel region confidence against Orhan's will without needed a passive battle. The broader theme reminded the same. The enemy attacked one part of the state and his respond by making that the part stronger than before. Betray improved intelligence, prevented attack, improved road security. Supply recovered, improved administrations, never did encourage cultural defensive, placing manipulation, strategic family cooperation as a different enemy, improved and trading. Now this is that the character can continue development without repeating that the same story by the closing part of this section. Sultan Erhan will appear stronger than at the beginning, but that the audience will understand that his promises are also larger. He has gained integrity, he has improved his intelligence network, he has discovered and defected internal competitor, he has written relation with the merchant. He has the suggestion relative with the merchant. His commanders has gained experience. His family has the survived attempt to revive it, but Constantinople has also changed. The Byzantine leader know exactly how dangerous Orhan is. They will no longer treat him as one more traitorous beast. They will serve for the resources for beyond that the Mediterranean region. They set up a new state where Orhan may face forces he has never fought before. For example, if unite never power or the district ruler could become part of this struggle, the political map around him will distort. This is where that the series can become even bigger without losing its emotional center. No matter how large that the war has become most important reason for fighting because close to him. He wants Barca safe, he wants his family protected, he wants that the people under his banner to live without fearing that the next army. He wants that the sacrifice of the earnest brand and the courtless warrior to create something lighting. He wants his children to inherit more than a battlefield. They deserve it with experience, ambition for the purpose and ambition man want more or less between earning man love behind his strength. Or has far more control before leaving hostage store head rounds is the people created permanent danger. Of course, people power can change everyone. This will become another future challenge as her and small victories. Some people may begin praising him too much. Young berries may treat every decision as the perfect. Counter may avoid giving bad news because they fear disappointment. This is where for any rollers they may become that the person willing to disagree openly. At the same point, Ernst could become angry when loudly criticized as a comparison. Their agreement may be so strong yet later Ernst realizes his brother was partly right. Instead of the punishing him, he admitted that the problem privately. This would demonstrate his strength. I would suggest it sounded only by the people who agree with him become weakest. Hence need royal people who are willing to tell him when he may be wrong. Malice can also remind him of the lesson. I has become great not because he never made mistake but because he is keep learning and trusted people with different strengths and hence will have to do the same. The end of the section could can therefore live on at a powerful but dangerous turning point. He has moved from the surviving attack to shaping that the political world around him. He can influence what happens inside Byzantine city. He can divide enemy allies. He can provide trade. He can organize civil commander. He can use information from ordinary people as effective as report from the worries. His enemy members are the becoming political actor in his own right. His state is become too large to be controlled like a simple trap. Everyone is changing, then a final message arrives. For foreign power has the answer. Constantinople requests. The Imperial has found someone willing to discuss some military alliances against Hammer. The identity of the new phase may be immediately revealed. Only a scared letter fortune symbol or the arrival of the unfamiliar soldier could appear. Science study that the message and understand that the next war will not be like that the same last one. The people around him expect concerning sees he began preparing because this is which his enemies still fail to understand. Every time they increase that the danger, Science is focused to the grow. Every trap teaches him another method. Every new enemy forces into a building another part of the state. At every attempt to stop him may actually prepare him for a larger future waiting ahead. The coming straight for the Ulu Science can therefore end with a simple but powerful idea. The battle for the Sparka created a ruler. The struggles about Iznik and the Izmir create a strait. The next enemies may determine with her that the strait is strong enough to options become something much greater. Orhan will stand at the end of a nearby security territory looking toward road that they continue west. Behind it, a city that once belonged to his enemy, a scene of him a war that they still believe they can stop him. Around him are the warriors who has followed him through victory and the loss. Inside Barca are the people learning to trust that the order is creating, and far away his enemies are the gathering again. For Sultan Orhan, there will be permanent movement of the lands, but there will be process, and that the process is becoming more dangerous to his enemy than any single army he could resist. Kulus Orhan's predictions. Kulus Orhan can enter his first major phase with Sultan Orhan facing a challenge that is much larger through a normal frontiers wall. By this point, Orhan has already learned that the every victory changing that the political balance around him. When a small robber becomes stronger, nearby enemy may try to support him, but when that the ruler becoming controlling important route, city, market, and the military tension. This is where that the coming story can become much more dangerous. Constantinople will no longer believe that one local commander or one secret alliance is enough to stop Orhan. The Byzantine court may not speak help from the forager viruses. Gross powerful coastal family and ruler who fear Ottoman's passion for their one reason. Orhan will therefore face enemy will do not know his personally, do not understand his the family, do not care or reward. They do not come because they promise gold, land, trade advantage or the political influence. They will force Orhan to fight so the reader travel while also making sure that the state behind it remains stable. The first stage of his new danger may arrive through a merchant caravan rather than an army tractor returning from the western port could report seeing unfamiliar soldier wearing armor different from the other Byzantine troops. Some speak another language, others carry shield marked with the symbol that Ottoman squad do not recognize. At first, his commander may believe this is man are only guarded here by the wealthy merchant. However, another report arrived from the coast saying similar ship has reaching a Byzantine controlling harbor carrying weapon horses and the professional soldiers. And immediately understand there is no more trace. Someone is the Constantinople has succeeded in bringing ordinary sport into the region. Laudin will likely advise captions if the Orhan sent his army toward the coast before understanding which their soldiers are. He called under a trap. The foreign warriors may have small, especially to the sturdy Ottoman tested. They may expect Orhan to respond quickly and emotionally. Insists Laudin suggested gather more information before deciding that the next move. Orhan agrees, showing how much his leadership has trained. He will feel that the agency, but he no longer mistakes speech for the strength. Quota sent in the similar direction. Avenues travel toward one coastal route. Does investigate another trusted merchant quietly ask questions in the market where sailors often take flare in Ulfa and the Sparkers serve for the information through the Byzantine contract within day a clear picture being forming the foreign soldiers are not part for the naturally army. There are a collection of the mechanisms and the knife recovered through several different contexts. Some are the experience in the said welfares, others are the heavy cavalry, a civil group including engineers who know how to build defensive machines and the terrified position. These tests said the enemy is not preparing only to defect a city. They may be planning to attack an Ottoman stronghold. The most likely target is not Bursa itself. Bursa is now too important and too well protected for an easy surprise attack. Instead that the enemy may choose a recently conquered city where Ottoman control is still now. If they take such a place quietly, they can damage Orhan's politely. People in now controlling town might that the winter with Ottoman rule is permanent. Local cedar recently accepted an authority could be changing side again. Therefore, that the enemy does not need to destroy that the whole Ottoman state. It only need to the create doubt. Orhan understand this immediately. His commander began looking at the frontier from the enemy perspective, which places which is easier to attack, which city who create that the more fair if lost, which road could be reopened if the Byzantine forces, which local population is still uncontained after Ottoman rule, instead of the defending everything equally. Einstein too they predicted that the point where a small enemy victory could create that the biggest political damage. Only carefully controlled fortress because that the obsessed answer it walls are strong but that the garrison is not large. The population will still firmly connected to the central officer. The fortress also control an important role between two the region. If it failed that the enemy can claim that the Orhan cannot protect his new authorities, the foreigners may therefore be knowing therefore it Orhan choosing it to not to increase that the garrison openly if he sent thousands of the soldiers into the fortress Byzantine's peace will immediately now we discovered that the plan. Insist specialists and the reinforcements are moving gradually. Group of the world's travel disguised as normal caravan guard, extra arrow and food are the hidden inside merchant wagons. Again also entered at the town in simple number when that the enemy finally arrived he believed that the fortress is the fully defected. The attractor began with the great confidence for agent's sake. Engines may forward expected to fit and that the refractor with large machines, heavy soldier approaching that the wall entry Byzantine officer promised that the town will fail quietly but that the first surprise come when the Ottoman chief were building fairing from the position that the attractor did not expect. The wall contained more defective than the intelligence report suggested. Supply gate thought to be weak has been straightened even that the civilian inside that the town has the prepared water and stand in case that the tractor use fire. Still that the enemy forcing is too strong to be defected only from the wall. Only now is the defense is designed to the delay not destroy the attracted army while that the foreigner focus on the fortress and hence may focus may behind in toward the forest so the enemy believe he is still far away for several days. The state become until the reflected lost man. One section of the wall is the damage. The foreign commanders began believing victory is the close. He ordered a major assault for the next morning. That the night Ottoman rider attacked the enemy supply camp from the behind. The raid destroyed food, arrows, supplies, vegan and the engineering material. Horses escape into darkness, civilians guard catches fire, the foreigners run away from the wall to protect their camp and this is when Orhan's main forces appear. The enemy has suddenly chased from a tractor to the trap army. The battlefield can be one of the first major tests of the Orhans against professional soldiers. Unlike many previous enemies, they do not panic easily. Their commander quietly formed defensive line and tried to organize a controlled withdrawal. Have cavalry attacked at the Ottoman conflict to create a scapegoat and elicit that the normal matter may not work. His order mounted a chief to avoid direct collision with the heavy cavalry. Instead, they circle attack at the house from a distance. Infantry unit focus on narrow areas when the armored rider cannot use his speed effectively. The battle become a contest because different military style and does not win quietly. Several Ottomans were well because that the foreign soldiers are the discipline. This gives that the new enemy celebrity. The audience need to feel that this is art. They not simply another group waiting to be defected. Their experience focus ahead to attempt doing that the battle eventually that the new commander recognized that the continued descent is possible. He ordered redirected toward that the coast. I hence allow part of the army to accept because casing through unsimilar ground could be dangerous. Some youngest carries are the disappointment, but I has explained through his action that destroyed that the enemy complete was never the only goal. He protected that the fortress damages the surprise learning from their fight and presented that the political victory Constantinople wanted the foreign commander also ran something expected an aggressive frontier ruler who rushes directly toward his army in CC found and commander who think in civil state he report to the Constantinople that the earth cannot be treated like an experienced local speaker. The report may contain disagreements cited by the Byzantine court. Some noble will use for reasons where it was a mistake because it cost a large amount of the gold without predicted a victory. Others will agree that one field attack means nothing and more should be recruited. The imperial faces pressure because every new military plan becomes more expensive. This is where the identity of weakness more important than the enemy may itself. Constantinople standing her account for money to fight if that the Ottoman state can increase that the economic cost of every Byzantine comparison. The Emir will the eventual struggle to maintain contest war and may therefore begin attacking money rather than the soldier. Instead of the launching a hug, you said immediately he targeted important trade route controlled by Byzantine authority. He does not want to destroy commerce because it wants ordinary people and the Ottoman mark as well. Instead, he tried to redirect trade toward road protected by his one-state merchant who uses Ottoman road that the promised security and the fair taxes. This is recording has the danger Byzantine controlling area must accept that the risk of the bending military searches and the sending tested. Gradually, more merchants crossing that the safer road. This great economic victory Constantinople began receiving less reward from contained frontier area. Local governor complained that they do not pay soldiers. The imperial may send more money from the center they were because even more expensive. The foreigners' mercenaries also become a problem. They fight for the payment. If payment arrives later, its loyalty weakens. As intelligence network discovered that one soldier has been receiving when they were promised, only suggested exploring the situation carefully. Rather than trying to break that, the Imperial Foreign Army Ottoman agents supplied information that the Constantinople has no intention of paying all of them. It also associated story about previous group being abandoned after battle. Suspicion began spreading inside that the enemy camp. The Foreign commander is trying to maintain discipline, but his soldiers start asking questions. Some soldiers defend advice payment before joining another operation. This forced Byzantine officials to spend even more gold and hence will without drawing a sword. The imperial damaged in response by attempting to the damage Orhan trade in the return. Byzantine naval forces may begin stopping merchant ships behind to be supplement Orhan's authorities. Coastal theatre become return prices for the contained good rises in the Bursa. This creates another challenge because Orhan cannot yet fully control that the sea. Orhan's might order prediction for the trade caravans, punishes soldiers who opposes civilians and encourage market to remain open. Such scenes will show that people gradually accepted his authority. His life becomes safer under Ottoman control. Political loyalty grows naturally. This is also where Byzantine attempt at economic pressure could fail. An enemy may accept Bursa to become weak because it has been entrapped. But Orhan can be disposing by the opening alternative road and making agreement with nearby communities. A ruler who protects commerce gains support from the people who may not care about lawyers' rivalries, that they care deeply about feeding their family. The next expedition concerned that the rule of the information, Orhan's ability to discover that the movement of a large forces then from Constantinople suggested that his intelligence system is becoming stronger. I expect this to become a permanent part of this series instead of relying on one famous epic. Orhan could become several layer of the information. Orhan's must report usable purchase for weapons. Could become soldier using mountains road harbor vehicles might use being prepared. Religious travel school here, political suburb, local commander school send message. No simple person who make everything which make that the network harder to destroy. And will have received different pieces and have to decide what they mean. This conflicts suspense because information can be true, false or incomplete. The enemy could deliberately send a false report and Orhan will need to be compared it with other signs before acting. Such stories are the idea for a prediction series because they allow surprise without making characters suddenly behave foolishly. A smart hero can still be conferred temporary while that the enemy also using intelligence. One of the more interesting possibilities is that Orhan himself may send for Messi into Byzantine territory. If he wants to the move about Iznik, he can make Constantinople believe Izmit is the real target. If he wants to attack the road, he could spread a rumor about preparing a safe Byzantine commander could that the most soldier is the wrong direction. The audience smile intelligence behave is the changing his plan made to discover later that the interior movement was designed to build a factor away from another position. The kind of the strategies carries excitement without needing impossible number of the soldiers. It also shows her learning from his enemy for the Byzantine figure and the rebels may have been species and the trap. Now hence can use this is meant against him while maintaining that the one principle he made not to betray most people. They need only too many commander. Misunderstanding where danger is coming from. The crazy operations may even become that. The first example for that the news day. My prediction is that Hence will allow that the enemy to believe he failed to stop that the ships. Perhaps more crazy from one part of the armor while secret vessel appear to this Byzantine commander celebrate because they think that the mere force can still cross today, but later they discovered that the surviving ship had been damaged, therefore stories prison or removed, or that the route blocked by the Ottoman broke and the archers. Another possibility is that Orhan warned some ship to leave before following him. We revealed at the location of a hidden enemy base instead of destroying everything immediately. He sacrificed a smaller victory to gain a larger one. This will surprise both Sansa and the Mirrors. They unexpected Arhan to react emotionally because her army is approaching. Instead, he would be thinking similar move ahead. The important point is not that the exact matter. The important point is that the next stage should make Arhan's intelligence as excessive as his courage. A serious loss is also likely because a completely successful plan will remove too much tension. Sahar may destroy much of the enemy preparation but still lose a trusted warrior or important position. Then could remind him that looks already reduces danger but never removed at the cost of war. Do not think that the story could repeat. Bronn lost by immediately killing another veteran is exactly that, the same emotional style. A different kind of the lost work battles. Perhaps an important frontier post failed because Arhan has to move soldiers toward Creasy. Perhaps villagers must have their home, perhaps an ally wounded and cannot continue fighting, or perhaps a political opportunity disappeared before Arhan choices to save people rather than the case are repeating enemy. This sequence can make victory feel real. A ruler is often focused to choices between two vulnerable things, knowing he does not perfect but perfectly. And his God will be strongest when he carries that the weight of this choices without losing directions. Brand that will continue to influence Arhans even if it not mentioned contestly. The official story is holding showing Sahandi served for the revenge after Brann's was the betrayal. The next stage can show that the grief becoming someone more disciplined. He saw the remembering Brann's only when he is angry. Sahans may adopt the lesson from his enemy loyalty. He can protect that the family of fallen warriors and make sure their sacrifice are remembered. The world suggested that the bond between rulers and the army soldiers find differently when they believe their family will not be forgotten if they die. Hence could establish posts for widow and the children or gain land or protection to the family who lost man is the comparison. This series does not need to explain this with complicated political language. Simple scene of the people receiving help can show what kind of the state is being built. It will also disappear help from enemies who use soldier as the deposal toll. As the war moved forward that the medias may try to act as his loyalty Byzantine agent could spread rumor that Ernst is using his various only for a personal ambition. They may claim the most war will bring endless death. The propaganda could find some listening, especially among family and tired of the fighting and cannot answer every rumor with punishment. If we arrested someone, everyone without complaint, the rumors become stronger and seals this action need to prove that the opposite. He must show that these comparisons has a clear goal, safer road protection for Bursa, removal of enemy stronghold or prevention of invention. This provides an interesting political challenge. Winning spot is not the same as commander obedience and has may begun holding conserve where frontal leader can speak about problem. He could listen to the Christian before making a decision. Some many disagreement with him, but when he explained that the danger posed by Iznik or the Imperial army, but understand why action is necessary, this will show a consequence being building rather than everyone arguing automatically. The next major concern could become one of the most important scene is the coming story. Arhans will place a map before that the OB and the commander, but instead of announcing a simple attack, he will explain that the war he entered a new state. Barca is secure enough to survive as a center, yet security will remain temporary while hosted roads surrounded it. Isn't the coastal connection and the road Constantinople form one larger problem? Hence, I am then therefore will be break the network piece by piece. Some be may spot immediately conquest, others may want that the army is the tired, a few may fear leaving that one conflicted. Hence may have to create a plan that ever uses forces rather than the demanding everyone march to one plan. This is one the beginning of the administrator or the larger scale. These stories will no longer feel like one table moving together everywhere. It will like a stable capable of operating in several regions at once. This is where new commander may rise. Younger variours who previous blurs behind famous are receiving their one responsibility. One might be ordered to protect a road. Another might conflict Scott, another could defend Versa, while Orhan's comparisons as severe, none of it will succeed. We are young, capable, will make a mistake because he gloried too quickly. Orhan will have to decide whether to punish him or threaten. Some people movement are they become important because Orhan himself learned through the mistake. If he now become a mentor proof, he has entered a new state of the leadership. The series can create new character naturally through this process rather than introducing everyone as important heroes. Viewer can watch then earn trust. Some will become future loyal commander while one later betray Arhan. The uncertainty will keep that the military world fresh. The Byzantine style could mirror this development by introducing a new generation of the defector who has grown up hearing frequent story about that the Ottomans. Some may hate Athens without ever meeting it, others may privately believe Constantinople has abandoned frontier cities. A commander inside Iznik could become questioning where that the mirrors can actually save him. He may remain loyal, but because the species hence can exploit that the fear of offering term because attacking him may promise that the civil and cultural homes and the market will be protected if that the city submit. The commander may refuse to become surrounded, feel dishonorable and but the offer will affect that the population. People inside that the wall would be asking that the wall should that they if their life can continue under new rules. This create internal pressure without making every Byzantine character even some fight because they believe they are fighting their homes. Others survive that the period for power. Others simply want to survive, showing their difference will make that the story richer. Nullifer becomes partly important in this situation because she can understand that the fear of the people inside Byzantine city. She may tell her that the threat everywhere will not make that the united against him. If he separated that the imperious obstacle from ordinary people, he can awaken resistance. Arhans can therefore send military promise protection to the civilian. While warning military's opposite leader then outside help will not arrive, the combination of pressure and the resources could slowly changing the mood inside Iznik. Nullified advice will then produces a visible result, proving her the political values. Perka may also contribute through difficult connections but understand noble value and the core behavior. Instead of the two women fighting only over hence their competition could become a competition to the survive that they stay more effectively. That does not mean have suddenly become friends. Their personal tension can remain strong, but rivalry can become more interesting when vows that are capable and useful. Eventually, Nullifer may believe that the definite that cannot be answered simply by the destroy spark grief with the mind, but the new information might reveal that definitely one choice places her in a badly solution that does not remove nullify pain yet is changing where she directed. She may begin blaming that the larger political struggle that turned family member into tools. The Mira's or other representative figure may have used definite anger for strategic purpose. Nilüfer Guldat decided that the best answer is not one inside that the places but preventing other family from being destroyed in the same way. This training will be gradual. At first, she may still speak cowardly toward Asperka and avoid her. Later, during a crisis, she may save Asperka from an attack because allowing an animal to kill her while encourage her household. The two women will not need to the embrace afterward. The simpler face that Nullifer choices duty only wanted show growth. Sparkle could faces a similar test. It is an assassin or a CP enter Basarka and Nullifer become that. The target Sparkle may discover that the plan first. She would then have a choice between remaining silent and protected that the woman who has entered has a rival. I predict she should be dead nullified not because their problem are solved, but because she understands that an attack on the Orhan's family is an attack on Orhan himself. This could be first point where the relationship changing with open honesty to different respect. They may never become close, but they can recognize there are line ether will close. Some development is more vulnerable than suddenly entering their worry. It also gives that the passive storyline forward movement. It conflicts will change that the character insists of returning them to the same argument. Fatmas and the Avinas may receive their moment of the happiness only about that the first way of the sea danger passage. This is married or the former unit. Sun could become a symbol of the stability returning to Bursa, yet even that the celebrations may carry political meaning. Fronters be commander and gal from nearly Arisis could attack. Arhan's might has and gathering to this return relationship. This creates the possibility of another enemy's plot, but it will also repeating a wedding attack because this word has been used timing in the hostile drama. A future twist will be the attempt political destructions. A forgot later will arrive everyone secretly with the enemy. Because he was previously accused, someone hoped that the old suspicion would return. This time, however, Fatma refused to doubt him. Ahans also refused to act without evidence. The plan failed previously because that the character learned from the previous crisis. This will be satisfying because an old type of trap is defective by character growth later than the luck. The forget message can still be useful because Ahans might deliberately pretend to believe it. The enemy agent inside Barsa will expose evidence to be arrested. Ahans could secretly send evidence vice publicly announcing that he is being questioning. The CP report suggested giving Ahans a chance to follow that the information back to its resources. This would connected this wedding storyline with the intelligence storyline and show one again that the place is no longer easy to manipulate. Fatma could be the part of the deceptions, acting distracted in the public while knowing that the trust such a sequence would let her demonstrate control and the courage. The enemy would believe they understand that the family emotion, but this is emotional actually become part of the Arhan's trap. At same points, Arhans will likely need to leave Versa again from the next major comparisons before differently that he did when it was concerned. Versa is no longer simply a prize, it is home capital's responsibility and proof that the Ottoman dream of the becoming real. Leaving it means trusting other people to confront when he is built. This can be a powerful movement of the growth. He will assign clear duties to the Alauddin, the place's commander, and the local leader. He may create a system for the message to read him quietly. The audience will feel like the state can continue functioning even when its ruler is not physically present. It is an important training from terrible leadership toward a larger political structure. Arhan's destinations may intentionally appear to the Iznik, but my prediction is that he will first target a similar strategic point, directly attacking that the famous city will be too obsessed. Since he may gain a fortress controlling a road or water connection, the anti-commander will be focused because that the target seem less important. Only after it failed will they underestimate that the Ahans has cut off the zinc main support line. The pattern could control their civil position, yet concern looks small alone, but together they form a circle. When the mirror finally see that the full plan, it would be different to the worst, but give that the comparison sense of intelligence and the momentum. The new Byzantine commander may attempt to break that circle by detecting some events Arhans cannot ignore. Rather than the sending help directly to the snake, he could inside Barsa or places connected to the Arhans family. Their goal will be the force Arhan to abandon that the comparisons. Arhans will be faces a major choice, but his personality returns. These science weapons, if you stay, people may accuse him of caring more about conquest than his one capital. These solutions could demonstrate that the strength of his growing systems, Louding and the commander in Bursa might successfully handle that the attack without him. Arsan would receive that the news that Bursa stormed Firearm. And for the first time, he would realize that the state no longer dismisses on his presence at every crisis. It would be a major emotional victory. His father's dream has become something larger than one sword. Sunshine, if he is alive during this stage, should become one final attempt to explore that the solution. He may provide that the Byzantine commander offering secret information is stand off for protection, but because his position has become weak, the Byzantine could treat him with attempts. The Malaysian might pushes him toward an even more reckless plan, perhaps attempting to enhance rather than the defected him military. He could send a small group dressed as Ottoman soldier or someone known to the Ahanskap that the assassinations might closer to the succeeded, but Darsan or the dream hand can become involved if Damir's hand is moving toward redemption, if there he might sacrifice himself to stop since a final betrayal. His dad will have the Darsan or the Arhans but will not everything he did. Darsan could grave for the brother he once loved while accepting that the Damir's hand could destroy their family. This will provide an ending without preventing that one final act make her earlier acceptable. Sansa will have the capture alive but will give Arhans a difficult decision. Killing them immediately in anger would be simple, but as maturity becomes judgment in siege, this against that the state soldier and civilian could be presentation before leader who once supported him. This is important because Orhan will not want himself to become a symbol for the future rebellion. He will want everyone to see what his rule failed. Former LC school testified to his betrayal. Family could speak about attack. Evidence of his secret agreement with the Byzantine could be shown. The result with the political destruction before physical punishment. However, his final state follows Sensa will name no longer present resistance to the Arhans. It would represented that the danger of the sacrifice everyone for the personal ambitions. After his feat and the story can fully move in the Byzantine comparison, the readers will understand that the local division among that the Turkish speak can no longer be real opens at a main weapons against Sarhans. He must now confront a modern nature's Ottoman power. This right that the series of the insist of the repeating terrible divided future conflict can involve city diplomacy, sea roads, trade and the region's allies. Hence victory will also create no problem because every new treaty brings more people to the governor. Some will help him welcome, some will send, some will protect relative while waiting for opportunity to the rebel. Expansion itself become a test. A series could show clear that the cannot simply copy Ottoman in the every question solution. His case is the fatherly glory, but this also aids present different problems. Usman spent much of his life creating out the foundation and fighting to establish independence and the treaty. Orhan's intelligence something larger and must turn that the foundation into a working state. Therefore, the tone of his decision should slowly change. He will fight the personality because this is one of his character, but his greater achievement could increasing come from organization building, governing, appointing capable people, creating stable market. Protected difficult communities and planning long comparisons are all form of the conquest. This gives Corulus Arhans is now identity instead of making it feel like the same adventure with a different central character. Strong future storyline could involve Arhans storing entering a newly controlled tone after that the victory and saying fearing resistance expected revenge. In Caesar's predictions or calm and places of the worship, soldier may seal at the finish, market at the open food, it distracted. A local Christian family then expected to flee decided to remain. This is simpler action spread news faster than the propaganda's nearby town were here that the Ottoman conflict does not automatically mean destruction. Some defenders will have become less willing to fight to the that. In this way, mercy become a strategic advantage as well as the moral choices. The media may try to stop this story from spreading because they weaken his ability to describe Orhan as a threat to every Byzantine subject. This could lead to one of the most dangerous plots of the next stage. Byzantine agents might commit an attack while wearing Ottoman clothing, hoping civilians blame Orhan's soldier. If innocent people are killed, trust collapse overnight. Arhans will need to prove quickly that he never was no responsible. Nulfar or Sparkle could notice details showing that the tractor was for soldiers. Perhaps their knowledge reopens or the behavior does not match Ottoman forces. Evidence could follow their escape route. Fatima could find a witness rather than one hero solving everything. Several characters contributed different pieces and then revealed that reception publicity the kind of the story will many characters without making their plot feel disconnected. The revelation could feel also damaged at the media's possibility. If Byzantine civilians discovered that their one leader were willing to kill them to create against honest reality being breaking. Our lower governors began may secretly open new traditions and the commander may refuses on other contestants to respond by sending harsher official which create even more resentment and can gain ground without contest battle against the team will be that the state become powerful when its enemy system began failing from within. Meanwhile, Lime and the Dutton could move toward merit after surviving their one crisis. But their futures may also carry responsibility. Dawson, having seen that the damage created by the divided loyalty, could become responsible for maintaining relationship with tribes or the region that were supporting his brother. Some people may distracted him because of the damage and hence will have to the publicity show that the Dawson is joined by his one action. Limes could support him in the rebuilding trust. Their story will storyline therefore continue after Ronan ceased offending. Their happiness will become at the beginning of their duties. Fatmas and the Lime could also grow closer through their experience. Bout has the waiting for man who lives his life are the uncontained. Bout had the faces enemy who tried to use love as their weakness. Instead of the becoming character who only worry in the places they can decide that the knowledge and the preparations are the best protection against future manipulation. They might organizing a network among women in the bus and the frontier settlement. They help families during comparison and passes important information. This can be presented naturally rather than a modern organization. Perhaps create communications through relative market travels, healers and the household farmers and the lime slowly learn how vulnerable these connections are by the battle of the coming story expect and to achieve through victory that the question changing from whether he can survive to far he will go. This is a moment where success itself becomes dangerous. Commanders may become communicated overconfidence. Young wives may think every Byzantine caster will fail easily. Some may damage more land has sword. Others may become jealous of commander receiving greater honor. Hence will need to stop victory from creating internal decision. He may remind his men that the state cannot become a collection of the personal price. Land and the authorities must come with responsibility. A commander will receive a commander's will protect its people and obey that the central order. This conflict between all habit and the growing state could become one of the stronger themes of the cruise Orhan's when ambition Sally and eventually refuses Orhan's authority not because he sport at the BS but because he believes his once survived deserve independence. This new conflict will be different from Shahinsa because that the man originally be loyal and even respected. His problem will be pride created by the success and will try to the world showing that he learned how coastal internal valve can be. If Valley is still liberal and his can family feel that the story demonstrated that unity is not achieved one and then protected forever. Every period of these passions create new ambition. The media could secretly encourage that new disagreement, proving that the Byzantine strategy has also evolved rather than the openly sporting religions. He might send many through merchant or the promised recognition through intermediaries. His intelligence network will need to discover that the connection. The discovery could lead to the tense counter operation where Ottoman agents allowed that the many to continue money so that they can identify every person involved. This will make that the political side of the series almost as the dangerous as the battlefields. As greater personal challenge made that the becoming learning want to trust with the power, but a ruler grows stronger. Everything around him kindly loyalty. Some truly believe in him. Some want position, some fear him, some wait for the witness, some cannot personally test every heart. He needs system that make betrayal different. Important decision may require more than one official message. May use Excel success can be counted. Commander may report through the support channel. This detail comes in small but they was visible show a state becoming organized. Every improvement make it harder for the enemies to destroy and throw one traitor. Their original organized structure could be when finally make easily vulnerable for the long seas or the blackets or hence irreliable supply line discipline troop intelligence and the stable of central of the Balsa. When these species are ready, the city may become that the main target. The comparisons will then feel like a result of everything we during that the season, the burning of the enemy ship, the defect of the sense and the straighten of the versa, the work of the Laudin, the intelligence provided by the nullified another, and the loyalty to commander are become one part of the larger plan. The conquest will not begin to enhance alone, even though if leaded, it will become to the system he created. I predict that the approaching to Iznik will begin with a massive rather than an attack. Orhan may offer peaceful surrender. Byzantine commander refused because reinforcements has this post been promised from the Constantinople. Hence only through the reinforcement cannot try because his men control the important role. He therefore wait. Day pass will become harder to define. Argument began inside that the cities. Some citizens damaged notation, soldiers insist on resistance. A secret Byzantine plan attempt to open a corridor through the Ottoman line at night, but as expected, the failed operation future damage moral. At the same time, has made liberty allow food for the civilian to enter by blocking military supplies. This will be the clever political move. The city population will see that he is not trying to steal children while that the defected army become weaker. The commander might accuse civilian of helping that the Ottoman created new development. Eventually, a group inside that the city could defect or another immediately asking for the guarantee. The gate may be immediately opens, but that the physiological battle will be won. The immediate disappear for the prevent this could order a final relief army. The army could become that the next clear battlefield. The confrontations like that the crazy operation which elicits on the surprise and the fire. The batter could be found in the open ground and choosing his location carefully for his narrow land where that the larger Byzantine forces cannot use the full numbers. Archer and the mounted unity attacked at the side while frankly hold at the center. The battle less enough to feel dangerous. And one point that the Ottomans line approaching clear to the breaking. A commander had tried earlier made then successfully carry out and the independence, showing that the Hans investor in now leader has spied off the Byzantine defect will leave listening without listening hope of the issue. At the point the city leadership faces a final choices. Some may still want that before surrenders, underestimate resistance, other bring suffering. Hence repeating his guarantee, the gate finally opened, not simple because that the wall were destroyed, but because that the political and the military situation made resistance impossible. This will be a fitting victory for more mature software predicted throughout its actions after entering Orhan's first action. Make more than the celebration. It will protect the population, secure that the military position, appoint official and privileged uniforms were thought that the city connected to her past and feel that the emotional weight of how much life has the train Asperka could experience someone similar from a different position. Their personal history with the Byzantine will make that the conquest will make that the military even for Erhansil will make another state in the transformation from Ether Bay a ruler to a growing stage. Yet that the story should end at the step by reminding viewer that the greatest victory create greater enemies. News of the Orhan could make travel for the beyond that the Mediterranean region. Constantinople will understand that it is no longer a local problem that we controlling through a new alliance. Other powers should pay attention. Some may want friendship. Others may fear that will appear if that the expensive continue. New commanders and the political pair may enter that the story. This world of the Guru's Arhans will become larger. Just as the Arhan state become harder. The final prediction for this section is that the Arhan's new target will be related only after believe is the great comparison is finished. Versa will the celebrate family will Junaid, Fatima and the evidence may finally receive spaces. Rhyme and the Dusser may be rebuilding their future. Nullifer may still carry tension, but it will not controlling them before Laudi may be organizing that the newly gained territory where it may expect a period or rest that the Arhan will study that the map again. His attention will move beyond that the land everyone expected him to take. He will question that every new border produces another question. A safe Bursa require control around it. Control around Bursa require pressure on Iznik and the Izmir successes there will sport new road, new court and the new political policies. Hence will require that he cannot stop history at the point where his enemy will like him to stop. The state ether becomes strong enough to protect his gain or sorely losses he. This is where that the new phase of the Guru Sarhans can truly begin. The story will no longer be as a young warrior trying to remove that he deserved his first thrust. It will be a ruler crying a responsibility larger than the himself. Every family problem can affect politics. Every political mistake can cause soldier. Every military success can create a new population that must be protected. Every alliance can become temporary worry. Every enemy defected reverse another enemy is waiting behind him. The next story therefore should begin with the fire of Risi but grow is somewhere far greater. Others enemies believe they are surrounding him with the armies, yet they may knowledge be focused on to the rebuild that the system that will eventually defect. His sense of betrayal which teaches he how to add the control internal vision. The mirrors hug army with the teaches he how to the attacks imply and insists of the number. The places conflict with teach his that the family unity must be protected as carefully as the fortress nullifier and the Sparka will discover that the influences carry responsibility. Fastness and the evidence will learn that the trust must survive duty. Slime and the Dustam will learn that love cannot erase that the different choices created by the family and the power. Loudin will help turn victories into later order. More importantly, Orhan will understand that the strongest victory is not that the woman has the enemy face. The strongest victory is what that the land remains civil afterward, when market remain open, when the people stop fearing tomorrow, when commander obey a commerce order, when the other grow up inside stronger that the world their parents inheritance, and what enemy begin changing their plans simply because they fear what has next to it next. That the for the reason my prediction is that the coming phase will show a more patient Sultan Ahans. He will still ride into battle. He will still fight beside his corridor. He will beside become angry when the people are harmed. But his real strength will increasingly appear before that this world leaves its shield. He will decide whether that the enemy move which aliens break first, which door remain open when casters become isolated and when a battle is worth fighting. His enemies will prepare to defect that the worries they already know only to discover that the worries has become that the statement. And this will be the greatest danger for the contestants. A brave frontier commander can be defective in a tribal battle. A ruler who has created loyal commanders, secure roles, strong intelligence, working market, discipline, order, political elites, and public trust cannot be stopped so easily. Even if perhaps those even control the larger system survive. Even if one commander fails, another can take responsibility. Even that the enemy discover when the plan another plan is already moving. The coming story can therefore using that the battle with sense and the mirrors has the closing door of one period and the opening door of another. At first, viewer may think that the central question is whether Arhans can escape that the two armies closing around him. By the end, the more important questions may be whether this is enemy have already waited too long to stop him. The ship at the cruise, the struggle in the danger sounded distant, and that the future of the Disney was no separated problem. They are pieces for the same transformation, and he is learning to connect him when he understands him completely. His enemy will force something that they do not accept. They will no longer be fighting only that the son of these Osmans, but they will be fighting the ruler of a growing state that he has learned how to survive betrayal, turn defect into experience, turn experience into strategy, and turn experience into expansion. This is why that the next part of the cruise Ernest could become one of the most important turning point in this story. The previous chapter prepared that the fire. The coming chapter can show that the rises after that the fire. Ernest path toward Isnik, Smith and the widow Byzantine led with Commander Claire, but every step will damage a greater level of the leadership. The people closer to him will also have to grow because that the state becoming too large for anyone to remind exactly that the person they will at the beginning. The war against Insa will test loyalty. The suggestive with the media will test the trade. The tension between Ulfa and Asparka will test that the unity of the Usman Arhans. Fatma's and the evidence will be tested by responsibility after finally overcoming suspicions. Lie will be tested by uncertainty over Darsan. Darsan will be tested by the final Laudin will be tested by the burden of the governing that the Arhans concerned. And Arhans himself will feel that the greater state of far proving that he can be something that does not collapse that the moment he turned him back on it. If he succeeds, the future battle will become larger, but the position will become stronger. More cities will become watching Versa. More leaders will wonder whether they should fight him or neglect him. More people living under Byzantine authority will compare that the insecurity around him with the other growing under Ottoman control. Some will seize him more fairly, others will quietly begin preparing for a future in which his banners turn much closer to the Constantinople. The media will understand this greater danger, but may others do. That is why I expect him to become more aggressive even after suffering defeat. The struggle will not and become one army one or on commander fail. Constantinople will use money, peace, political manage, local allies never stand and regional influence to slow Arhan advice. Arhans will need answer to all of them. This is how that the series can keep expanding without simply repeating that the same battlefield every week. The reason a hit can become that the contrast become to the system. On one side will one other media trying to protect authority that are becoming harder to control. On the other will be Arhan's younger state, still vulnerable but growing quickly because it leader and close to the frontier and able to react faster. The old power has the worldwide history and the international connection. The new power has the enemy military experience, worries and the ruler learning from every challenge. Neither side could appear unbeatable. Constantinople can still hurt us badly. A field comparison could cost him thousands of the men. A rebellion could force him to return from a state. A CP could enter his closer circle. A bad harvest could weaken Barca. Local allies could change sides. Their danger keep that the story believable and ensure Ernest's victory feel earned. The important difference is that will eventually becomes better at the surviving seed bed. At the end of the predicted phases, viewer may look back at the crisis as that the moment that changed his leadership. Before it has been still open, responding to the enemy. After his enemies will increasing respond to him. The reversal is the true sign of power. The person who chooses that the time, places, and the purpose of the struggling control that the direction of the history, the burning ship will therefore pressure more than a military succeeds. They will symbolize a refusal to fight according to the enemy plan. The fail of Sahinsa will represent that the weakness of the internal division, the stabilization of the Barca will represented that the growth of the governor, the changing relationship between Ulfa and Asperga will represented that the different process of turning a complicated family into a stable dynasty, the survival return or the Darshan will represent loyalty tested by blood, the future of Fatima and the evidence will represented trust surviving political manipulation. And the next move toward Isnik will represented that the movements had stopped thinking only about defective what is was and began defective what the future should like this. This is the direction I expect Gurus ahead to take. It give very important character purpose while keeping us at the center. It allowed romance family dramas, war political planning sacrifice and the conquest to the development together rather than the repeating one type of the conflict. More importantly, it created that the scale of the story. The young Ahas one needed to prove that he could win that a battle. Sultan Ahas may now prove that the bridge and the age. Kulus Ahas predictions. Kulus Ahas can move in the next state by showing that the danger allows Sultan Ahas is changing space. The previous struggles were many about armies, armor, castle issues, and the drag betrayal, but that the coming period can become more complicated because his enemies will begin to understand that the defecting him open war is becoming harder. Every battle is surviving teaches is something. Every betrayal makes his intelligence system stronger. Every new treaty gives it more resources, but it also carries more responsibility. Because of this, I believe that the next major part of the story will focus on the new kind of the pressure. Arhans will have to defect his state while civil enemy attacked him in different way at the same time. One enemy may use soldiers. Another may use money, another may use political purpose, another may work separately inside Barca. This will keep that the story fresh because that the danger will not come from only one commander standing in front of Arhan's will sword after the destruction of the enemy plan around Christie and the weakness of the Sansa person positions. Arhan's will probably believe that he has gained valuable time, however, that the time will be much shorter than the expected. News will quietly reach Constantinople that the Ottoman ruler is no longer simply reacting to the immediate movement and has starting predicted them. This will deeply worry that the Byzantine leadership. They will understand that if the Arhans continue building stronger intelligence around at the coast, it will become almost impossible to the move large forces without his learning about him. The Imperials will therefore changing his method. Instead of pairing one greater army that can be obsessed from far away, he may divide his military power into smaller groups. This group could make into separated road and the gather only near that the final target. This will make it difficult for the Usman squad to understand that the true size of the danger until that the last moment. Arhans will soon notice visible movement around similar regions. Amasa will report that the large amount of the grain are being purchased by the supervisor Byzantine officer. A shepherd may see a female soldier traveling through a mountain road at night. Another scholar could report that the horses are being moved from one fortress to another. Now of this is A1 alone will prove that the major comparison is moving, that the coming years Earth will underestimate that they are connected. This is where his growth as a ruler become important. Instead of waiting for complete information, he must learn to make decisions from incomplete sign if that the wait until every detail is now. The enemy may already be standing outside Barca. If that the move too early, he will waste soldier or supply. Therefore, that the next storage line can show and storing every report carefully and building a picture from the small detail. How they may become one of the most important partner during his process. Aladdin can explain that the political meaning of that the report, while Orhan focuses on the more ordinary possibility. He may point out that the great verses are taking place far from the road that would normally be used for an attack toward the Bursa. This could mean that the true target is somewhere else, perhaps that the center want us to believe they are preparing to attack his capital, while secretly reinforcing threatened civil region at the same time. Sahel may intentionally disagree with the Aladdin but insists of treating disagreement as the disrespected. He will begin using the decision to test his one plan. This can show a healthier and more mature relationship between that the brothers. The best predictions will be that the enemy is exactly planning to the operation when forces will enough near Bursa to keep us worried about that the capital, while another move quietly toward the frontier fortress and throughout the Ottomans influences the Byzantine may believe that the smaller fortress is important to the Arhans. Yet losing is will reopen an important road toward Iznik, and we see that is only comparing several pieces of the information. He will therefore see the different decision if he spend his stronger troop to the fact that the frontier Barca will appear weak if we keep him in the capital and frontier road may be lost. Instead of choosing only one side, Orhan will create a reception. He will allow Byzantine peace inside that region to see military populations around Bursa. Soldiers will move quickly through that the city. Horses will be prepared. Fire will burn toward that the night, making it appear that a large Ottoman force is waiting there. But before sunrise, Arhans will quietly leave with the selective worry through another gate. A smaller group will remain building and the communicating that the experience of a much larger army. This will be one of the first example of the Arhans turning that the city itself into turn part of the strategy. The enemy commander moving toward that the frontier fortress will believe he has achieved Ottoman supremacy. He was expected only a small Ottoman defensive, yet he may soldier reaches a narrow very near that the fortress. Hundreds may already be wanted on the high ground. The battle should be only one easy victory. The Byzantine commander will also be intelligent and will quietly understand that the trap. He may order his soldiers to form defensive line and attempt to the rejected instead of continuing forward. Hence will have to the act quickly because lying that the army to escape completely would mean forcing it again later. Mounted Ottoman warriors can attack that the real war infantry closely that the road ahead. The fighting will be intense, but the Arhan's real goal will be capable of the enemy officer rather than they destroy every soldier. Capture civil commander use gave more vulnerable information than the killing them. Document found with them may show that the Constantinople has been sending money to locate danger. Will be unhappy with the Ottoman expansion. Their discovery will include a dangerous new problems, hence attack at the battlefield, but learned that the political attack has already begun inside his one territory. Civil B may have secretly received gold or the promise from the medias. They may not yet have the open betrayal, hence, but Constantinople is trying to create the before that the great dangerous comparison. Hence will not immediately arrest everything named in the document because he knows that the list can be for his enemies may intentionally including the name of the lawyer meant to create suspicion. This is another sign of his political growing intelligence. Earlier anger may have the pushes him to comfort everyone at once. Now he will understand that a ruler can destroy his one state if he begins seeing betrayal everywhere. Since he will quietly investigate each name, Laudi may succeed in inviting all the suspicion reader to the Bursa for a concern. If they refuse to the come, but itself will reveal something. If they come, Arhans will observe that the behavior while also presented. A new plan from the frontier. The concert contains every tense part of the story because you will know that the ones or more important against that the tables may have acceptable Byzantine god yet Ahaz will behave normally. He will speak about the trade defenses and the future comparison without reliving when he now. One Bay may appear especially nervous. He might strongly opposes a comparison toward Isni, complaining that the people need peace after so much fighting. His argument will sound reasonable, which makes the situation more interesting. A leader can oppose and will automatically being a traitor. Laudi may divide and of the this cannot need someone may only because his opinion is different. The investigation must continue. Another bay may loudly spot everything Arhan said. The man could actually be that the real trailer. He now that the preaching to the lawyer is reserved way to avoid suspicions that a twist will show that the danger inside that the state is becoming more. The enemy is no longer reliant on the obvious rebel. In sales, they are using people who know how to hide behind obedience. Whenever, meanwhile, Nulufar will continue dealing with her one emotional struggle. The pain around Daphne has not disappeared, and her relationship with Jasperka remains difficult. However, the new political danger could force Nulufar to become more active. She may notice that one of the visitors to the Versa is connected to the Byzantine noble family she remembered from the earlier era. The man's presence may seem normal because that the life has part of the trade degradations, but the Nulufar recognizes that his family has those survived imperial intelligence. She will warn her to the visitor may not be what it happened to be. Arhans will not accept arrest him immediately. Instead, he will ask Nulufar to help underestimate that his purpose. The give her important role beyond places worry. Nulufar could begin study with the people the visitor made with God that the servant person somewhere a messy task and she may discover that the trader had been meeting secretly with someone connected to be. One of the suspicions where the discovery would be very important for the Nulufar personally. After losing Daphne and the feeling surrounded by the pain, she will begin turning her knowledge of the Byzantine society into such analysis of allowing that the past to control her. She uses that the past to protect her family, or hence will notice this change. He may begin trusting her with the more political battle because she underestimates that the Byzantine world in a way many of the commander cannot. Asperka may intensely feel uncomfortable when she sees her and Ulfa working closely together, or jealousy will turn at the Asperka has been gone rather than creating another argument. She will decide to prove her value through the action. She may focus on the information coming for the noble family, religious leader, and the people connected to the Byzantine court. Her one background can give her access to another network of the knowledge. This gate a quiet rivalry between Ulfa and Asperka, but it is a different from where earlier conflict instead of fighting over who stand closer to the Arhans, they begin competing through political usefulness. Ulfa may discover that the theater meeting while Asperka learn when that the meeting are the happening for his contestant Upur is planning to the promised noble title and land to any locals be who help remove Orhan from the Bursa. The imperious plan could be more ambitious than a simple realization. He may want civil by to assist at exactly that the same moment when the Byzantine army attacked from outside. Bursa will then face the danger from outside, the symbol and the earliest strategy of trapping Orhan between two forces. But that the new version is more dangerous because one side will want from inside within the political structure. And we understand that he cannot allow that the conspiracy to development until that the plan date. At the same time, arresting everyone immediately could reveal that the Ottoman intelligence had discovered that the plan the medias will simply change his strategy. Therefore, Asperka Orhan may decide to pretend that the conspiracy is working. He could secretly could send false message suggested that the contain Ottoman commander are unhappy with him. This message reaches that the Byzantine super network on Constantinople will believe more are ready to the rebel. The mirrors may then send even gold and detailed instruction. But following that, the money, Sahan identity, every important person involved, this cooperation could last a several episodes, creating tension as the Ahans believe normally around people. He now many betrayal him. One of the more dramatic moments will happen during a feast or concert with the secret traitor seat very close to him. The audience understand that the dangers, but the artist cannot reveal that he know anything. He can just become part of the strategy. The traitor may eventually make a mistake. He should send a messenger outside Versa at night, believing nobody is watching. Savannahs may follow that the messenger with a simple group instead of the capturing him immediately. Avinas allow him to reach a hidden meeting point. There he see a Byzantine officer waiting with the instructions. Avina will want to arrest Boudman, but Ernst may has ordered him not to attack unless necessary. They need to know where that the message goes next. He create a different tell for the Avinas has a very natural instinct is to attack that the enemy in front of him. But as one of the trusted men, he must learn patience. He allowed that the Byzantine officer to the civil then discover a larger network operating between Vasily Method and the local leader. Fatma may become worried because Sabina disappeared for longer than expected. However, unlike either state of the relationship, she will not immediately assume that the world she has learned how much damage doubt can cause. Since she trusts there is no reason for his growth, there is character important growth. The relationship becomes stronger because they no longer allow enemies to control them through suspicion. Fatma could even become useful to the evidence operation. A woman traveling between households can something more or less suspicious that an armed worries Fatma visitor, a family connected to one of the suspended messenger and noticed visible qualities of food being prepared. This suggested the more men are staying nearby that the official now passes that the information to the Arhans. Through Fatma and the evidence, the series could show intelligence getting in a way that feels connected to everyday life. Now, every clue must come from a captured seaway, something simple detail revealed that the trust. At the same time, Slime will still be dealing with the Dustin situation if Dustin survived that the earlier danger. His discovery may be slow. He could return to the Barca physically wanted and especially associated. Everyone expect him to celebrate because he is alive, but Dursa may struggle with the guilt. He may believe that me dreams meant destruction, partly because he failed to save his brother from ambition. Limes will try to support him, but she may become frustrated when the Dursa closes himself off. The conflict will not become reproductive romantic misunderstanding. Instead, it can be about trauma and responsibility. Doesn't want to return to the duty quickly because staying still forces him to think about everything that happens. Life want him to heal before risking his life against a misunderstanding. Doesn't battle than the other because he can erase memories of fallen friend and the family. He could give Dustin a responsibility that does not require immediately battles. Perhaps Dustin is asked to help organize relationships with the tribes. His reality become uncontained during Sansa rebellion. This allows him to survive while recovering. Through his suspicion, Dustin may learn that the small people may deserve damage and the belief they have unfair treating or the manipulated. Dustin then faces that the difficult task of telling that they trust without insulting his one brother memory. He can explain that love for family does not require defending every wrong action. This will give Dustin emotional maturity and the political importance. Slime could accompany him for part of his mission. The journey will allow the relationship to grow away from place drama. This would mean family who lost son in the conflict caused by the river reader line will see that her personal gain is a part of a larger partners. A problems trigger between ruler or powerful and ordinary people. This experience could change line future role instead of thinking only about her one family. She may begin helping women and the children affected by wars. When she returned to the Barca, she could work with the Fatmis and other women to organize supportive for the disciplined families. Such a development will give that the women of the cruise and have stronger independence purpose. Their story will involve love and the family, but it will also affect polarities. Information and the social stability. Meanwhile, that the secret contrast to pull against us will continue growing. The Emirates believe his plan is success because that the Ottoman Spain network allows some messenger to the pass intentionally. He may finally choose it today for the internal revelation. This plan could be timed with a major Ottoman relations or family gathering when many commanders are inside. Barca and the soldier are released. The threatened tried to open one gate during that the night when that the Byzantine forces approached from outside. At the same time, another group will create fire inside that the medkit to the separate panic. If that the plan work, Ottoman troop will divide it between protecting that the city, fighting that the tractor and sporting that the fire. Hence, however, already now most of the plan the real uncertainty is with her. They are hidden part of that he had discovered. This make that the night dangerous even he is prepared, he will eventually replace his guarded as the triggered gave with his more loyal berries. Berries believe it to contain oil for the market fire may be placed with further water or sand. Soldier will hide inside building near that the planning Cable's position. The traitor will believe everyone is going according to the plan. At the question hour, one of them give that the signal. The gate began opening outside Byzantine. Soldier may forward quietly. Then the trap closes. Ottoman archer attack from the wall. Hidden soldiers surrounded that the traitor inside the city. Their sportive fire failed to the surprise the Byzantine commander. Lysias too long that the gate was opening only wide enough to draw part of his forces with a narrow killing area. The discovery will be extremely important because it showed that the Arhans can defect Versa without turning that the interior city into the place of the fair. He did not arrest thousands, hundreds of the people based on the suspicion. He waited until that the guilty men revealed themselves. However, one major authorities may be escaped. This person should be someone viewer trusted. His escape will keep that the conspiracy storyline alive and show that the Earth's intelligence is strong but not perfect. This escape traitor could take important information with him, including map of Ottoman defenses or detail about Orhan's new comparison. He will head toward Disney called the Constantinople, hoping to receive protection. Orhan will send evidence after him, but that the pursuit will become more